everyone, welcome to this simple and fun tutorial on how to use the magnetic lasso tool in Photoshop to make a collage of awesome fun shapes. First thing we're going to do is go and open a new document. We're going to go up here to File and click New. Then from these options, I'm just going to go into the Document Type menu and scroll down to default Photoshop size, and then we'll leave it at its whatever settings come up at 300 dpi resolution, RGB color, 8-bit, 7 by 5 inches, and a white background. So we can press OK. And now here is our canvas with a really giant brush that was left over from what I was just working on. So I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. I'm actually using a keyboard shortcut right now, but to make the brush size smaller, you can go into here and use the slider, but that's not important right now. Let's get to making shapes with the magnetic lasso tool. So first things first, we are going to go and create a brand new layer. So let's go up here to Layer and New. And I'm going to make a new layer. Or if you want to use the keyboard shortcut, it's going to be Shift Control N, or I believe on a Mac it'd be Shift Option N. All right, so I'm going to click on that and then press OK. Now that is one way to make a layer. Another way to make a layer is the way that I use all the time. If you go down here in your layers panel and you click on this little icon right here, this blank page icon, that's going to create a new layer. So that's how I like to do it normally. But you can also go up here into the layer menu and create a new layer that way. All right, now that we have a fresh new layer to work on, it's really important in Photoshop to create a new layer for each new element that you add. In general, of course, there are exceptions to that rule, especially when you're making abstract art. Anything goes, but I usually like to create a new layer for each element, shape, text that I'm going to be working with. All right, so we have our new layer, and we have the blue color here, which means it's selected. If I were to click on this layer here, the blue, this layer selected, go back, click on layer 1 is selected, and we're going to go over to this icon right here, which is the lasso tool. And if we click and hold this button, we see other types of lasso tools. One is the polygonal lasso and one is the magnetic lasso. Now we're going to click on the magnetic lasso, or let go of our cursor. So now we have the magnetic lasso selected, and it's simple. All we need to do is click and then just drag in whatever way that you want. Now the original intention for the magnetic lasso tool is to automatically find the edges of something or contrast between two colors. Like say for example you want to select the yellow middle of a flower, then you could just drag around that yellow and it would automatically find the edges for you. But I really like using the magnetic lasso tool this way because you can make all sorts of fun shapes and not really think about it. It just sort of decides the shape for you depending on how fast and where you're moving your cursor around. So now that I dragged around my cursor and I went back to the beginning and I released my mouse, I'm going to go over here to the paint bucket. And I'm going to click that. And then I'm going to go down here to my color picker. And I'm going to click in this square right here. That's going to open up the color picker. And here you can just choose whatever color that you want. I'm actually gonna go back to that deep pink color. Okay, and now we have the paint bucket selected. So we're going to go inside of the selection that we made with the magnetic lasso tool, and we're going to click, and that's going to fill in the selection with the color that we chose. Now we're going to go here into select and deselect, and now we don't have those dots, those marching ants around our shape anymore, but we have. And then we can go over to the toolbar on the left side and grab this tool right here at the top right, which is the move tool. And then we can move our shape anywhere that we want. And if we want to rotate our shape, we can go up here to the edit menu and then go down to free transform. And that's going to create this bounding box around our shape. And we can drag this up, or we can, actually before I do anything else, I'm gonna press Control Z. You can also go into Edit Undo to undo what you just did. Undo is awesome. I'm gonna be using it a lot. And I'm going to go to one of these corners. Now notice how when you go to a corner, you get this curved double-sided arrow. It's going to tell you that it's ready to rotate if you want to click and rotate. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to click, and I'm also right now I'm holding down Shift. Shift is going to help you rotate it at sort of regular intervals. You can see them right next to my cursor. I went -30 degrees, and then -45. I usually don't pay attention to those numbers, but I just like to usually rotate at normal increments so that it's easier to bring it back to 0, although you can always just use undo to do that. But anyway, I'm going to leave it rotated like this, and then I'm going to go up here and press the check button to lock in my rotation and my edit of the shape. I can also press enter. All right, now we're gonna go and create a new layer and make another shape in the same way. So I'm just gonna go through this pretty quickly. So I'm gonna press right here, new layer, layer 2. Let's grab the magnetic lasso tool again. And it's actually gonna wanna try to, you can see what the magnetic lasso, it wants to follow the edge of what it's seeing in the piece, but I'm not gonna let it do that for too long. I'm gonna move it around more quickly. So it's like, oh no, I don't see, oh my God, where are these edges? I don't see them. I'm like, that's the point, magnetic lasso. And then I'm gonna bring it back to the beginning. And notice how I have that little circle next to my cursor, which is telling me if you let go circle, we will complete and close this shape. I'm gonna do that. And that is my next shape. I'm gonna do the same thing and go over here to the paint bucket. Go to my color picker and choose a different color. Feeling a gray. Do gray. It's okay. And make sure that you are still on your new layer. There's no reason that you should have changed it, but just sometimes accidents happen. Make sure that you are on a new layer. If you're not, you won't be able to change your new shape independently of what's under it. All right. And then I'm gonna go here, select, deselect. This is actually pretty cool how they're on top of each other like this. How part of it did follow the edges, but I didn't let the rest of it follow the edges. So I think I'm gonna keep this like this right now. And then I'm gonna just add one more shape. New layer, new element, new layer. And I'm gonna grab the magnetic lasso tool again. And I'm not gonna let this one follow any edges, so I'm gonna start away from the edges and go really fast. It'll still try to grab those edges, but not gonna let it. And then go back to the beginning where you see that round, you see that circle next to your cursor. Let's close up the image. That's our selection. Then I'm going to go into the color picker. All right, a sky blue. I'm still actually not on the paint bucket, so make sure you're on the paint bucket even before you you can choose a color and still not be on the paint bucket, so make sure that you're on the paint bucket either before or after you choose your color. And I'm going to click. There we go, and then select, deselect, and there you have another shape. So again, like we did with layer 1, the pink shape, we can go in here to edit and to free transform, and we can rotate. I'm not holding down shift here, so it's going to move by really small increments, and please excuse my computer, it's really slow. So let's just say I want to keep it there, and I'm gonna either press this check mark to lock in my changes or enter. All right, and that's a pretty cool basic 3-shape collage. You can also go back to your move tool and move this shape somewhere else. So you want to move it here. You can also click on a different layer. So I'm going to click on layer 2 and click and drag above. See where this light gray line is showing up? That means that if you drop it right now, it's going to end up above layer 3, above the blue shape. So that's what we want. And I'm gonna let go. And now we have the gray shape above the blue shape. And you can also do the same thing. Let's say you want the pink shape above the blue shape. Same thing, click, drag. And now the pink shape is above the blue shape. Now I actually like the original order of these shapes best. So I'm going to go up into my history panel right here. And I'm going to click on this step. Each of these is called a step. So I'm gonna go and click on the move step because that's gonna bring us before the layer order, the 2 layer order changes that we made. So I'm gonna click on this step, the one right before we change the order, and that's gonna bring me exactly back to the original configuration. And that was using the magnetic lasso tool to make a fun collage of shapes. I hope this was useful and fun to you, and I hope to see you in the next tutorial.